Alright folks, welcome to this exciting video where you once again join us in the heart of Scotland here. And today we've come to Glen Isla, which is a beautiful Scottish glen, one of my favourites. And we have been here before in videos, but guess what, the place we're going through this gate, we've never been before on a video before. And apparently there's some cool history if we walk up this way. And also an interesting fact, the old Glen Isla Highland Games used to be held up at this side of the river where we're going. Before there's a new like Highland Games hawk at the other side. But an interesting thing, there's a sign here tells you the old folk of the glen lived in terror because they believed that giants lived at the other side of Mount Blair. And there's old stories, the massive stones which is down here, the story is that the giants threw them at the people of Glen Isla from the top of the hill. And there's a big stone down next to the old mill. And apparently that was a stone that the giant threw at the miller, and it's still at the side of the road to this day, and the road goes round by it. Yeah, but it's like old countryside folklore told like by the local people, stories kept alive through generations, and you never know, like there's obviously been no truth in it. It's just like what the word of the mouth.
Before the generations of TV.
Yeah, before they had internet and TV, folks. And look, there's one of the giant stones there. It's interesting to see. It's to do with the geology and the landscape that creates those big stones. Maybe some of them did come rolling down from high up on some of these hills. There's some sheep making some crazy noise over here today, folks. But anyway, yeah, we'll update you when we're further along. Look at this, folks. This old bridge here takes the main road over the River Isla.
I think it's been rebuilt a bit, eh?
Yeah, I think it has had like repairs over the years. But I remember recently, I think like a truck or something had clipped it. Yeah, 'cause like the coping stains is still off it. So I think it's just constantly getting repaired. An interesting little detail is like an old post box in the side of this bridge, which is like an architectural detail of the bridge, folks. And yeah, we're about to head on up through this gate. It's cool to explore it, like a bit of the Glen or a bit of Scotland that we've never seen before. And I just love landscape like this. And it's so humid today, folks. We were like unsure whether or not to put the coat on or whatever, but we'll see. It's often good to keep the sun off, like my skin here, because I got sunburnt at the Kerry show. But yeah, I'm actually doing pretty well, even with that. Channel DJ is operating the gate on this episode. It's incredible, folks. Once you come through this little gate from the main road, the landscape just looks amazing up here. It's like looking at a Scottish painting, and then all the colours here of the thistles, and then there's like lupins here, or no, what are these again? Foxgloves. Foxgloves, folks, check that out. The bees crawl right up in there to get their pollen. Look at the rocks down there at the River Isla. Oh. Wow. The River Isla is just so clear today. Look at this, folks. In the middle of the path here, there's some sheep. So we're just being respectful here, and we'll go down the side of the sheep. Because we're countryside folk here on this channel, and Ken, we're certainly not wanting to upset the sheep here or get attacked. But we're just following this track. Seemingly there's a bit up here that the Highland Games used to be held, but I don't know if there'll be any obvious like lie in the land, or Ken, it could have even been an area like this, because you see how it's nice and level down by the river.
How marshy it is.
Yeah. Look at that view, folks, looking on up the hills towards Auchavan and the Tulchan, and probably even Glenshee on beyond that. You can't complain trying to find abandoned history in a landscape like this. It's just such a special place to explore. And like with views like that, it's a magical scene. And I'm not going to use the word epic in this video, folks, because I've been using it too much. If Channel DJ hears me using the word epic, he should give me a slap across the face, folks. But yeah, the landscape is amazing. Majestic. This is incredible scenery walking out the top of Glen Isla, folks. And this is one of the main routes. They used to rustle sheep and cattle out. Back in the olden days of Scotland, people used to come down from Braemar and the Glenshee direction into Glen Isla, and they used to kind of steal the sheep and then drove them all the way back up out of the glen. But one crazy story about Glen Isla, the Campbell clan entered the glen one time and they actually destroyed the big castle here in the glen, Forter Castle. They burnt it down, destroyed it, and that's what the Campbell clan that did with a lot of areas in Scotland like that to claim them. But nowadays, Forter Castle at Glen Isla has been restored to its former glory, and it's incredible to see that. But yeah, that's a cool story. I was just thinking about that as we enter the glen from this, well, leave the glen from this end. The people that might have at one time walked here, like sheep rustlers and herders from times gone by, for any time in history, folks. Look at this, folks. We've come up the glen a little bit here from where we were, and look at the size of this stone next to the river, and just check out this view leading up the glen here. It's incredible. There's a cool little holiday house or something over here, I think. But we've just noticed an amazing piece of abandoned history over here. It's like old remains of a building, maybe a little croft from like the late early 1700 time, or it could be from any time, like 1600s onwards basically, folks. Ancient wall construction like that, and I can see there's like little stone walls and pens and stuff like that all over the place, probably from the old history of the shepherding that went on here with the sheep. Okay, look at this, the wall's been built in here. See, maybe there was an original house over there back in the day, and this could have been its sheds. Yeah. But then also this could be older, and this could have been a house over here at one time. The history is often so ancient in a glen, it's just mind-blowing, folks. Just think when these stones were laid onto each other. It's from a time so long ago. Like, things are just so different to this day, but the walls still stand. And that is some crazy history. Wonder what this has been. It's probably been a little farm, I reckon. I wonder if ever there were fishing and stuff in the rivers as well. Again, as well as the farming game. Yeah, it's like this has been a cornerstone here, maybe of an original door. Wow, you just imagine the sort of folk that might have walked about in a building like this at one time. An old farmer and his top hat. I'm not even sure, like, in the era, but I'm reckoning 1700s for sure with a thing like this. It's like there has been another door here. It's all dry stone construction. It's built with big and small stones, and just check it out. It's crazy those little stones are in there doing a job. It's held up for all this time. Out on the wild glen, the wild weather. Yeah, it's an insane environment. Especially in the winter up here, because it's like wild, heavy snow, often blizzards. Temperatures well below 0 Celsius. And then look at this, this could have even been a separate little small holding here. Because it's like an... Yeah. It's almost like though these trees might have been planted here when this building was still in use. Wow, it's such a cool spot up here at Glen Isla. The landscape is just breathtaking. When you hear little historical nuggets like this hidden in the middle of it, and it makes it worth the walk. Some of the stones they've used here are massive. See, there's been buildings at this side as well, so you can see the remains of them. But some stones like that, folks, they're just huge. Yeah, probably sheep and like other animals nowadays can live in there. They probably get shelter behind the walls. Because literally history like this is just on the wild hilltop. Check the quantity of stones.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, there's just that whole end there is almost like
It's a massive cave.
10 foot thick. It's almost like it's meant to be like that though, because that end wall looks like it's built. See here, it's like it's been finished.
Yeah.
So it's like this whole section on purpose has been made like that. See, like there's a road leading right in there, must be from the other end. So that makes it a bit easier to walk. That must be the way they get into that house. Yeah, I'm not sure if it is like a holiday house or a full-time house. Again, to landowners and house owners, we always come with the greatest respects. Again, we're out here documenting this abandoned history on the hill. It's a special thing to see. Yeah, there's been a serious amount of dry stone diking done on this hill here. It's impressive to see. It just shows this was probably quite a big setup of its era. Yeah, wow. There we go though folks, on with this adventure. We're just pushing on, trying to find a route up, see if there's any abandoned history on this hill. So I'm just taking the viewers along on this adventure here as we go. I just record things when I see it, and yeah, when there's cool stuff like that, you just imagine how old that is, and it's crazy. Only in Scotland you get history like that, just everywhere hidden from all different time frames of history, such a variation. And those beech trees are probably pretty old, I would think. Yeah, 150-year-old, maybe 200.
Yeah.
Even this wall here though, it's a seriously big stones they've used. They've probably gotten those stones out of the Isla and off this wild hill. Yeah, look, that looks like a lime kiln. This is crazy folks. This is the sort of thing we find just by going for a walk. This is a live find on this adventure. That is 100% an old lime kiln right there.
There's water right there.
Yeah, this is a serious bog right here folks. And that's the thing, some abandoned history folks, it's just like at this time of year especially. Yeah, look at this folks, it's literally deep bog, dangerous conditions, so this is as close as we can get. Maybe though, certain times of year it's easier to explore. It's the kind of thing you could come back to another time, but that shows, yeah, that shows the era of this setup here then.
Yeah, that must be the house or something.
Yeah, and see up there, there's a whole other settlement or a walled area. There's like 3 or 4 different constructions on this hill from ancient times in Scottish history folks. But literally like the water's just running off there. Probably at the time of the lime kiln that ditch would have been dug out. Yeah. All we can hear is grasshoppers today folks, everywhere. We've now pushed on a bit up the same route we're going folks, and we're getting a better view up the Glen, and we're just thinking we're going to do a whole circuit and come back down the main road at the other side. But there's a farmer sitting over here, so we're going to navigate our way up the side of this. The River Isla folks, we're going to go down here, look. Because we literally just pathfind our way around wherever we go. We just pick a route and we go full send this year folks, 2022. And look at this, remains of an old historical bridge. Yeah, it's got like a cliff in the middle of it. I'm guessing this must have been a bridge here. Not unless they used it to winch something across, but I can't think. There's remains of a bridge, look. Real history right there folks. Just imagine that, the old wooden spars are still there, the remains of them. That's a beefy wire right there. Wow. It's probably before these trees and stuff were even growing. But certain storms in this glen are so extreme, it wipes out a thing like this overnight. history gets deleted. So it's cool to share the remnants of that. Look at this, folks, we're now navigating up the river on the pebbles, and it's an insane countryside environment right here. Wow, one footstep wrong and we would be down in the water. It's a wild environment created from the river. Probably all over this hill there'll be stones like this within the earth and all over the ground. And yeah, it's sometimes when it's overgrown in the summer, it's the best way to navigate the Glen. But yeah, the river water here is so fresh in the islet today. I just literally was sticking my head in it, like folks say, 'cause it's so hot today. I'm feeling refreshed now. So I just thought I would update you and show you sometimes the crazy situations we end up on in these adventures. It's madness. Yeah, there's sometimes bits it's hard to get through. Here, I might jump to that stone, I'm thinking. What do you think? What's it like over there?
Not fucking much.
No, there's no... Here, we could maybe get to the other side, look. Here, we can. Whoa. That's what you call reading the land, folks. You pick a route, and if you can't get far up that route, you reset your sat-nav and you go a different route. And that's the cool thing about traversing the wild landscape of Scotland. But it is high risk. See, it looks like it's not so easy, but let's... Hey, look. Look at this, folks, I'm right in the middle of the River Isla right now. That looks like a slippy way. He's almost away, folks. Wow, that was so close. Here, this is so deep, I've just realised. Well, it's pretty deep. Here, that's like, you'll fall in, bro. Here, there's maybe just an easier way, look up there. Because think about it. If you fall in there, think about that. That would be so funny though, but... You'll... This is crazy, folks. I've got the camera rolling here because I'm navigating these rocks once again. It would be unsafe to jump across there. And I believe, like, even if we went that way that the channel DJ was going to go, we would end up falling in. And it's often not worth it because we've got a long walk to get back. And there could still be more abandoned history on this adventure, folks, and that's what we're wanting to find. So we're now going the sea route here, folks. It's the third different way we've attempted to come. Look at that, folks, there's another one of these massive stones here, which is probably one of the giant stones from the old folklore of the Glen. It's crazy to think that a lot of old, like, historical settlements and stuff used to all have stories about giants and that, eh? It's like crazy ancient folklore. Look at this, folks, there's a whole field of geese here at the side. Look at them. What an incredible scene. If that's your geese and you're watching this video, shout out to you. It's a nice spot up here. We're making our way around the side of this. There's like almost a path here, and we're just making our way up this side of the river. It's so hot today, folks. It's super humid, but guess what? I just got bitten on my arm by one of those horse flies, and I looked down and I was like that, hitting it, and it was just hanging on by its teeth. Boom, and that's the first time I've ever been bitten by one of these things on my arm, and like, I can't even believe it. The pain. It's not as bad as a wasp. But wow, what a crazy little animal. It's like a fly about an inch and a half long. Well, there's one total fly in my eyeball right there, folks. They're coming around, they're hungry. I'm getting out of here, folks.
Don't come on this bridge while I'm fucking on it.
Look at this bridge, folks. Holy smokes. Here, we should get down to the side of the river on the stones, because that's a lot safer than this. Crazy environments, folks. Real adventures. To the landowner and the estate owner here, we come with the greatest respects. We're literally just transversing this landscape here, and we're trying to get back around to the bridge which takes you over, and we're going to walk down the main road. It's cool often just to walk a circuit in the Glen and record any rare abandoned history which is hidden and forgotten, because it's not everybody that can even walk up a place like this and see the history. It's mostly just sheep that you find on a place like this. Look at this, folks, we've just seen the craziest looking animal here, and I'm going to put the camera underwater to capture it, because what even is this? It's an animal, I'm sure. So I'm not even sure what type of animal that was we just saw under the water, folks. It might have even just been something like blowing about with the current. Sometimes the audio gets a bit fishy after I've done some underwater recording, folks, so I do apologise for that. Look at this ancient historical wonder in the middle of the river here. There's like cement on there. It's maybe been a little bridge across here at one time. Here, look, all that there is built up with stone.
I know, I was thinking that was part of that.
Look at this, folks, we're discovering history along on this adventure here. And this looks like it's been all built with stone at one time. Years and years ago. Maybe way back in the 1800s or something even. Or earlier. I wonder if there's maybe even a mill maybe up there, and there could have been water diverted down this way from something. Yeah, he's saying that there's two bridge supports there on the river, folks. Both of those stones has got the cement built onto the top of them. So we're not sure, it could be a bridge, or it could be something which was maybe a pipe or anything built onto those foundations. Oh, there's an old bridge up here, folks. Check this out, folks, we've got this incredible old iron bridge. The character and the construction of it is amazing. Again, it's gotten rusty and everything for the wild Glen environment that it sits. But it'll be the farmer's probably only way going up there and tending to his sheep and stuff. Look at this, cattle grids preventing sheep and stuff from escaping. I'm going to clean the lens. I've just noticed there's dirt on it, or probably still watermarks. So I think this might be like one of those old Bailey bridges, they were almost like a military bridge which was able to be constructed quickly, and there could have potentially been an older bridge here which got taken away in a storm, because the Glen environment up here is wild and unforgiving at times, folks. I've said it before in this video, but yeah, I'm going to maybe get a couple of photos of this bridge for down there. Look at this, folks, I was down here to look at the actual construction of this bridge here. And it is insane. I was getting a couple of pictures. Wow, the big metal bridges. Does it say on it? 1941, folks, which shows it was probably a World War II bridge. It maybe got put here after the war. Wow, it was maybe put here during the war. Wow, look at this, folks. This is an insane scene under this bridge, with the river Isla just rolling its way past. Some of this wood under here was actually broken. Wow. I love landscapes like this, folks, with crazy stuff built in the middle of them. Yeah, I can see up there where it says Mark 3 on it. So there must have been like a Mark 1 and 2 before this. Look at this, folks. When I talk about insane river conditions washing away bridges, you can see what I mean, because the wood and the grass that has stuck up on the bridge there, and that shows the water's been above kind of that height, obviously, which is crazy. Some of these bridges, if they weren't as strong like this, there would be a way, and that's, we've seen remains of a few bridges like that on the way through on this adventure. I'm just thinking I might not get up this other side as easy, but we'll sand it, folks. We're going for it. Here we go, that was no bad. Yeah, look at that. If you weren't paying attention, you would fall down through that hole. Check this out, folks. Down the other side of this bridge, there's this massive pipe. Look, it's like an old drain. Goes right under there. Oi! Yeah, you're saying that's all been built?
That, mate.
Let's go down for a look, folks. Uncovering history one adventure at a time. And what have we found? Oh, it is it. It's maybe been dumped there, you see, at one time. Maybe when the bridge was constructed, that would have been on top of the ground. And then years and years have passed. And all that has just been covered up with years of growth until it's like, looks like this. Under your feet anywhere in the glens, there's history. Yeah, there's massive chunks of metal there. It looks like rope. Yeah. See, this could be evidence, like I was suggesting, that there was an older bridge here before. And that makes sense. I'm guessing this is an military bridge that was bought or like put up here. Or maybe they were all just like that. It's maybe not necessarily a military bridge, but the year it's fait, it's like World War II era. Oh aye, will I be able to see that underneath there?
Well, that's me zoomed in, eh?
Oh aye.
But I managed to read the date.
Where is that stamped? Oh, way along. Wow, 1941, folks, is on the stamp up there. Which, yeah, it's cool history. There's a fair breeze coming through here now. But we're way to head on with this adventure and we'll update you. We'd be as well heading up this road back to the main road, wouldn't we? Because it looks like it's just wild hillside all the way up here. I just grabbed the thistle.
I did that.
That's Scotland for you, folks. Thistles is right there. The flower of Scotland. Lethal. We've just come out this little road here, folks, over that bridge, and it says Glenisla. I'm sure that's what that word says. But yeah, we're going to head along this main road now. It'll be easier to transverse. At this time of year, folks, it's insane environments to try to walk about exploring like that. I think there is maybe other abandoned like little settlements or farms up there, but it's maybe places like that to keep for the winter months when it's not so overgrown. So we're going to head round this way and see if there's any ancient historical wonders hidden down by this old road. This is a typical Scottish glen road, folks. There's just like hardly anybody about, and there is somebody with like a camper van living the dream there. Yeah, it's just paradise. And once again, there's these like massive stones just lying on the landscape. Oh look, an old phone box. Check it here, folks. There's this old phone box, but this person's got old chickens and cockerels in here. Look at it. It's total puffing itself up. Cock-a-doodle-doo. Oh, they've got geese as well. Gooses. They've got some mad gooses in there. Look at that, the little phone box. That's the character of Scotland there. A thing like this out on the wild hillside. I don't know if that came out in the camera there, folks. The cockerel was getting it, the big cock-a-doodle-doo. I'm going to have to get a photo of this. So there we are, folks, another cool bit of Scottish history. Documented. So interesting to see. and we'll continue this journey through history down the Glen. Look at this, folks. Up to the side of the road here, there's like remains of a small house, and then like maybe a field or whatever which somebody's had, but it looks like an ancient stone construction. The stone lintel and stuff's still in place. Wow, it's a cool little bit of history. That's the sort of little farm building that would have probably been used to sort out sheep and stuff like that. I can see remains of old fences and stone construction inside the perimeter of that wall, and it's like this has been a separate little shed at this corner. There's little enclosures like that all over Scotland, which was mostly used for like dealing with livestock and farming. As we walk along these meandering country roads here in Scotland, I love the character of these old farm buildings, which would have been some of the probably biggest buildings around, whereas now modern farm buildings just make these things look tiny. But it's cool to see that, the old stone construction, the old loft hatches and the wee windies with the square panes. Look at this, folks, there's a grasshopper on the road here. It's rare to see one. It's maybe not even going to come out too well on the camera, but you see that green brown colouring on it. If it jumps, you might actually see it jumping. Here, I'll try and actually persuade it to jump. Look, there it is, right at the tip of my finger. It's maybe been hit by a car or something. When we were young, well, there it was, it jumped away. When we were young, we used to pick them up and have a proper look, but nowadays I like to just leave nature like that on its way back into the wilderness of Scotland, folks. This is crazy, folks. There's so many of these horsefly things. I have been bitten again since I mentioned it last time. They're swarming about and fleeing about. It's crazy scenes up here in the Glen. Look at this wee brig. Wow. I'm feeling the sunburn on the neck today, folks, and that's how I've kept this on, just to protect my neck from the sun. I'm still getting the breeze blowing through here. See, today there's hundreds of those little brown butterflies flying about. It's quite cool to see the variation of different animals that we've seen today. Even though I've been nipped by the massive flyings, like that was just intense. But apart from that, everything else has been quite relaxed, folks. There's tons of these foxglove things growing. But at this time of year, everything is so overgrown. It's like often better to explore abandoned historical wonders in the winter months. So look at this, folks. This is the road that we've just come down. We walked right up the other side of the Isla, up there, and then back down this side. Yeah, this is like the crossroads, which would take you. You can get up the Glenshee way, but we're going to head back round over that old bridge, which I was talking about. It's got like the post box in it. And then we can see all the signs here. Glenisla 15 miles. Kirriemuir, Aelith and Folda are down this direction here. Unsuitable for HGVs as well. That must be this little bridge here. Even the character of these wee buildings up here, it's so cool to see, folks. Look at this, folks. This rare phenomenon in the tree here is a caterpillar that makes it. And you can see it, it's throughout the tree, all over the whole way up this tree. And it almost cocoons the leaves. It looks like it would be a spider's web, but I'm sure in the middle of there it is related to, it looks like a little kind of caterpillar, like, yeah, I've seen it before, folks. If anyone knows more about stuff like that and they see it in the video, get in the comments, because it's cool to learn more about even the animals that we see along the way on these adventures. Look at this, folks. This bridge here has just got the post box in the end of it. Okay, I think there's probably been a post box here for years, and it's literally right on the edge of the bridge. 20-foot drop down the side. The post will have to watch his balance properly when he's here in the winter, I would assume. Yeah, is that Edward the Seventh?
Edward the Seventh Royal.
Yeah, interesting old post box here in the Glen, folks. Built into this beautiful old bridge. And let's take a look over both sides at the riverscape that we've been blessed with here in the Glen. The River Isla. Yeah, everything's so overgrown and bushy at this time of year.
All the caterpillar things in that tree.
Yeah, wow. Look at the bedrock seam there coming out the ground. So that's us back to the gate there, folks, where we started the video at. So we've done a full loop of that glen up that road. We could have gone further, but it's so overgrown and like the road just pretty much stopped at the bridge we crossed. But maybe in the winter months we'll come back when it's less overgrown and have another adventure here at Glen Isla, 'cause it is epic and there's so much history hidden within the wilderness, and we've been able to share a bit of that today in the video. But we're just about back at the car, so I'm going to end the video here. Thanks very much for watching. Goodbye for me, goodbye for the channel DJ, and we'll catch you very soon with the next adventure.